Wait, what? Oh, hi there, kiddies. I'm Joke Man, and you're watching Channel Pop. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so I just got done watching Gotham Season 5, Episode 11, I think. They Did What? It's kind of the first part of the finale, or kind of the finale of the No Man's Land story for Gotham and everything like that. I also watched the trailer for the finale straight afterwards, just so I could have some idea of what we're in for next week and just something to talk about extra, you know? So, okay, so where should I begin, really? I guess, like, if that were a finale on its own, it would be kind of satisfying as a conclusion to kind of the No Man's Land plot, but it doesn't quite give all of the character resolutions that you really need to see to get this whole thing to be fully worth the while, you know, as like a conclusion to the story. I mean, like, I would watch Gotham regardless of whether or not it had an ending because the show is really entertaining, but it doesn't really give you a meaningful outcome for the characters. Or not quite meaningful just yet. Basically, like, the job's kind of only half done, really. This will contain spoilers, so, yeah, watch at your own risk, basically. Where to begin with this? There wasn't as much destruction as I was expecting in regards to the whole Protocol 10 helicopters coming in and bombing up the place. I thought the whole thing was going to be absolutely leveled. I thought that was the point, but really they just dropped a few little bombs, and then the rest of it was kind of left to Bane and everything. As for Bane, it was definitely kind of a henchman in this still, but he didn't. I think the twist was there at the beginning this time, so like the whole, you know, thing he's working for Nissa Al Ghul and everything was executed very differently to what it is in The Dark Knight Rises, and he as a villain I would say was very compelling, but perhaps a little underutilized in this episode. But that's not the end of the world, to be honest. There were a lot of different things that this episode had to focus on, and I think Nissa Al Ghul was really always kind of the big bad of this story. But yeah, the episode ended with me asking questions, which kind of is actually a good thing, because I was worried that this would be the finale to all intents and purposes, and that the actual finale would just be some epilogue advert for sort of like Batman and everything. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like the next one is the big payoff. It's, you know, everything that we've been waiting for and building up to, and this episode didn't cease the build up. It kept it going. It kept the momentum going, which is, if anything, the best thing for the finale. It just means that this episode wasn't quite the resolution that I expected it to be, and you know what, that is a good thing, because my expectations for this whole season 5 ending were not so high. They weren't, you know, through the roof or anything. I was worried about, you know, what is going to be the purpose of the finale, and like is the whole No Man's Land thing just going to be the end of Gotham now, basically. So we've had we had a fight between Bruce, Selina, and Bane, and I was just thinking, is that what it takes? 2 kids to defeat Bane? But no, Bane definitely did get the upper hand, but I loved the whole thing with the bats coming at them. That was awesome. And I loved that we got that whole standoff between the military and the GCPD, as well as Riddler and Penguin. We did certainly get an answer to what happens to Penguin's eye, so I think we know why we're getting a monocle in the finale and everything. I think Riddler and Penguin's character development came to a good conclusion for like the sort of duo that they are and everything. We've seen these two kill each other multiple times and everything. We've seen their rivalry, we've seen them get close and double cross each other, and we've got very much a situation like this where in this episode the two have kind of been trying to appeal to each other and kind of, you know, revealing their true colors to each other, and, you know, developed a much more personal sort of relationship than what we've seen in the past. And their conclusion when they sort of go to stab each other but don't, I think that really brought their character progression a long way, and I was really happy with that. I think those two definitely got some of the best character development throughout this season. Otherwise, character development-wise, I think Lee and Barbara got some of the best character development too. The fact that the two shared a little hug between each other this time, and the fact that Barbara sort of made peace with Jim Gordon and everything. I must say, like, I was one of the people saying that Barbara had outstayed her welcome when we got to season 3 and 4, but in this case, it was definitely worthwhile because her character arc was fantastic this time around. You know, just seeing her redemption and everything. And it doesn't feel bogus, you know? It doesn't have me wondering, like, hey, you can't redeem that, right? You know, it feels right. It feels organic. So my expectations for this episode were kind of, I was expecting Bruce to kind of suit up in an early bat suit and take on Bane, which didn't happen. I was expecting Barbara Keane to die, which didn't happen. So I'm really interested as to what happens to her then, because in Batman mythos, she is usually dead and killed by the Joker. Maybe that's something we'll see in the finale, maybe? I don't know, but yeah, I was quite surprised. I thought, you know, she would be kind of named after Barbara Keane's sacrifice. So when she survived and when Jim Gordon was just like, what do we call her? And she's like, Barbara. I laughed at that. I was like, yeah, go on then, name her after yourself. But, you know, her little reasoning of like Barbara Lee Gordon, you know, knowing who she can look out for in this city, I thought that was really sentimental and really sweet. Can't help but feel a little bad for Selina in all that happens. I think she does get the raw end of the deal when Bruce Wayne flies off to, I would assume, Tibet to do his training and everything. But yeah, like, Selina doesn't really get that much of a goodbye. She gets a very Bruce Wayne sort of goodbye where it's just like a letter, and we don't know what it says in that letter, but, you know, she does try and go to have a proper goodbye, but, oh, bless her, he's already in the sky by that point. Yeah, poor Selina. Can I get a group aww for Selina? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Aww, poor Selina. She's been through so much her entire life and this season, and now her boyfriend, or the closest thing she's got to a friend, has just gone packing. Aww. Mother abandoned her as a kid and left her on the streets. Aww. Came back into the scene, but just for money. Aww. Alfred slapped her across the face. Aww. Gets recast in the finale. Oh, poor Selina. You could literally re-release this show without the title of Gotham, but call it Oh, Poor Selina. And it would actually be quite fitting, to be honest. Not a false advertisement at all. So I think one of my favorite moments was the big standoff between the GCPD, Penguin, Nigma, and Bane and his cronies and stuff. And I think one moment I liked was when Bullock was like, there are soldiers down there that are just following orders and everything. So they kind of know who and who not to shoot and everything. And I definitely liked the sort of climax where the sort of the people of Gotham and the people of the Narrows sort of come together and they all sort of turn on Bane and everything. It really kind of symbolizes what Gotham is all about, really. It's not about military coups and blowing up the city. Yes, it's a city of mischief, a city of danger, a city of madness, but they got their principles there. It's a culture. Actually, there's a point. We never actually found out what happened to Nissa Al Ghul. We saw the last thing we saw of her. The last thing we saw of her, because I screwed that up, was she was trying to get into Penguin's submarine, which can only be piloted by 2 people, so I don't think she's going to have much luck with that. But Penguin's dog Ed was in there. I'd like to think... I mean, I doubt we'll be seeing Nissa in the finale. This thing's already stuffed as it is. Maybe Ed just bit her face off. He doesn't seem like that type of dog, though. He's one of those lovable, friendly bull breeds. I don't think he would do that, but just headcanon, he was aware she was evil and he ripped her face off. There we go. That's your finale right there. Okay, so moving on to the finale trailer. Okay. Hi, hello. First question. Where is Jim Gordon's moustache? Remember that theory video that I made? Well, not theory. Remember that bogus finale video I made where I said Jim Gordon gets the moustache for a couple of seconds before shaving it off? I mean, do you think there's any credence to that? I mean, to be honest, my predictions never come true. Maybe they just photoshopped off for the trailer to be like, we gotcha. I don't know, maybe this takes place earlier in the tenure than we thought, but he has not aged a day in that trailer, and there's like a 10-year time jump, and I feel like a moustache and glasses would have been just the thing to do it. So you mean to tell me that we're going into the finale of Gotham, and A, Barbara Keane ain't dead, and B, Jim Gordon has no moustache? I feel like your work isn't done here, guys. Okay, so we've got bald Crypt Keeper looking Joker, no moustache Jim Gordon, and Barbara Gordon's mother is still very much alive and well. What a weird outcome. Okay, I can probably accept it depending on how good the storytelling is. To be honest, like, the Joker's look has very much warmed on me. I have really fallen in love with this look because I love the accentuation of the uncanny features and stuff. And I think the hair suits this design, but I've talked about this for long enough, so let's kind of move on to other things. Okay, so we've got... I guess we'll start off with the elephant in the room. Barbara Keane is still alive in this trailer from the looks of things, and now sporting red hair, so she's much closer to the sort of Barbara Gordon Batgirl sort of look. Unless they are trying to tell us that is Barbara Lee Gordon, the daughter of Barbara Keane, But there's a 10-year time jump, and you can't convince me that Erin Richards is a 10-year-old. I'm sorry. Maybe the red hair thing is a bit of a course correction there. Maybe that's gonna be kind of acknowledged as that's Barbara Keane's natural hair color, because where would Barbara Gordon's red hair have come from? Unless we were to believe that she is ginger. And ginger is something that's not really into bread or anything. That's something that just comes out of nowhere. It's a ginger surprise. Okay, this ain't a salon and beauty channel though. I'm not going to talk about a hair color any longer. Let's move on to the other interesting things. We get a little glimpse of the Riddler, who's now fully embraced his Riddler personality, which he kind of did in season 3 already, but he's now got a really awesome coat with it. So hey, that's just, you know, that's the thing, is Penguin and Riddler are pretty much already fully formed, so I'm not sure how much screen time those guys are going to get in this. I really hope they do get a good amount of screen time, to be honest. I hope they kind of balance their villains well, because they've got a lot on their plate. As for Mr. J, Joke Man, the Joker, we're still not really sure what kind of presence he's going to have, but from the looks of things, Echo works for Arkham Asylum, and we see him choke her at one point, so a little more Joker Harley abuse. I didn't know what was going to happen there. I had the feeling that maybe Echo was just going to kind of be off elsewhere. She just does her thing somewhere else, and that she just doesn't really know of Mr. J, because, to be honest, like, why would she if she doesn't know that this is Jeremiah? But this is another thing that's kind of surprising, is I thought the whole point of Jeremiah going into the chemicals and coming out really disfigured and stuff was so that people would not know that he's Jeremiah Valeska. But then we have that bit where Bullock is like, hey, don't say his name, and Jim Gordon's like, you mean Jeremiah Valeska? And it's like, oh, okay, so maybe they do just know his name in this. There's been a lot of weird oddities like that, where I've kind of thought they've done certain things to kind of erase the character's name and everything. I thought that's what they were doing the first time when they killed off Jerome and replaced him with another. I thought the whole point was, oh, they can't know the Joker's identity, so, you know, he must be someone else.
I just think the whole don't say his name bit is just, like, he's so evil, you can't even say his name without feeling bad. So it's a whole of the Lord Voldemort thing here, like, you know, this guy who must not be named.
I mean, he kind of looks a little like Voldemort. I don't know, but I thought initially, like, when they did the first twist, when they killed off Jerome, I thought the whole point was introduce a new Joker so they don't know his name, and then Jeremiah, they still, you know, chanted his name in the streets, and then when he goes into the acid, they still kind of know his name. It's a bit confusing, but hey. I mean, I guess it gives a reason for him to act a bit more like the Joker than Hannibal Lecter in Joker cosplay. I mean, to be honest, like, I thought in, like, the first half of season 5, his sort of performance was kind of Jokery enough for me to kind of accept. Like, I didn't think it was as good as, say, Jerome, but, you know, I thought he'd kind of become a bit more jovial, which I thought was a very necessary thing for the character compared to what he was in season 4. But then again, I'm like, it's a new take on the character, and I'm stoked to see it. And to be honest, like, Mr. J's final look is kind of one of the most comic book accurate ones we've had, because you've got the very accentuated chin and cheeks, the very uncanny sort of look to him, the charred up skin, the wide mouth, all that, you know, that's very much one of the most comic bookish looks we've had. The only thing that's not like the comics is obviously his hair and his outfit, but it's a compromise, and it's one that I actually quite like, because it's a creative change. Oh look, there I go, talking about Joke Man again. We don't really see much of Batman in this trailer, but we hear his voice, and he sounds cool. He still sounds very much like Dave Mazouz, but he sounds very computerized and robotic sounding, and it's very cool, actually. Like, it's a bit more subtle than the Ben Affleck version, and it's certainly not a Bale voice like I was worried about, so that sounds good. He sort of fleets around and moves a lot between what I could imagine is gargoyles and stuff when Jim Gordon's trying to catch him, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Arkham Origins in a way. And we do see a little bit of him from behind, and it looks very much like the Injustice cowl, which I'm kind of dreading because I don't like the way he looks in Injustice. And there has been a lot of talk about what kind of way we'll see Batman in this, and it's like, I couldn't help but notice in this trailer he's very much appearing to be dressed in black as opposed to blue, which kind of contradicts that leaked image that we had earlier. Please don't tell me I'm going to have to change my animated bat puppet for the next animated short. I heard Boba Talk say that in this finale he's very much going to be blurred for the entire duration of it, which is, that's not something I'll be happy about, because it's one thing to do it in Titans, where Batman's not really a part of that as such, where he's not like such a big part of it, where he's shrouded in mystery. When you've got a show that's leading up to this and everything, I kind of hope that I get a good view of Batman at least once. Like maybe if it's like the final shot is just Batman sort of standing on a rooftop or something, that would be awesome. Maybe the lightning sort of strikes down behind him like it does in the animated series. That would be a scene to die for, really. So yeah, color me cautiously optimistic. Like, that's my verdict on this. This could either be an event in television history, which, going by Gotham's track record, I think is very plausible, or it could be a hilarious embarrassment. It could just be a complete and utter poop show, because they won't let me say the actual thing. What do you guys think? Comment below and discuss. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and maybe do as my good pal Tharis has done and consider checking out the Patreon. Link is in the description below, guys. I need all the help I can get, really, to have the time to do all these animated shorts for you guys and sort of, you know, just really be able to catch up on things. So, and as well as that, you know, of course, I am going to make investments into making my videos better and better. That's what I'm all about, even without a Patreon. So, you know, but yeah, if you've done all those things already, you know, subscribe and hit the like button, well, I'm always glad to see you guys here, and always glad to see my regular commenters. You know, any support is support, and I'm grateful for all of it. You guys are the best, really. So, catch you next time, guys. I hope you're ready for the Gotham finale.